This week, IXCR wraps up the 2020 UTV racing season, and we've got all the action for you, including overall standings for the entire season. So strap in as we bring you up to the race pace. Everyone, and welcome back to Race Pace, sponsored by CW Motorsports. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And IXCR wrapped up the 2020 UTV season, and actually their 2020 season just overall for everything they race, this weekend at Lee Farms just outside of Martinsville.
Yep.
Of course, if you've ever been to Martinsville, it's not hard to be just outside.
Yeah, you blink, you missed it almost. It's not quite as small as Eminence, but it's close. So no, it was a good day for a race. The weather was about as good as you could ask for. It was, 50 degrees or something for Indiana and end of November. No complaints at all.
Yeah, for late November, honestly, I remember thinking even up here, man, this is really as good as we could possibly hope for.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
The ground, we had some rain like the day before, but there's a couple muddy spots, but most of the ground was in really good shape. So really good. Now today, which is Sunday when we're recording this, they're running dirt bikes, and we had rain all night and halfway through the morning, so they're running in a mud pit.
Yeah, and it's really bad with dirt bikes because they rut stuff out because it's just single track. So if they all get in a specific line, they'll rut stuff down 2-3 feet.
Yep. So, went out there yesterday, got to hang out. Devin Smith rode with Cam Smith, his son, in the, what do they call it, the youth senior class. They're all 570 racers.
Yep, youth senior. And in fact, let's go ahead and jump in there and take a look at the results. So, had 5 on the line yesterday. Wait, is this... Why? Okay, I was going to say, it only shows 5 entries, and it doesn't show Cam here at all.
He was there.
There it is. Okay, sorry, I had to scroll down a little bit. DNF.
Yeah, so...
That's not good.
At about halfway through on the first lap, he had a good 60-second lead on everyone else. Now, as soon as he got up top of the hill, and if you watch the live feed that I did, as soon as he got to the top of the hill and made a right about 15 or 20 seconds after that, we heard a nice crash of a tree off in the distance.
Oh, yeah.
And I made mention of it, and Brody, his brother, and Devin's other son was there with me, and we both said, well, that didn't sound good. But ends up what happened, he hit a tree, and it drove the bumper through the radiator, and that ended it for him.
Yeah. Oh,
so,
man,
I mean,
that is a rough day.
They drove it back to the truck, and that was fine, but... Still, that's a rough day, and it finished it out. But congratulations to Brody, the one who didn't race, Brody Smith. He had already wrapped up the championship and the class, so he got both first in that. So that's why Cam was actually driving, because Brody didn't have to run to clinch it all. So congratulations to him.
So in the seniors there, you had Xander, I think it's Venice, finished in first, and then Luke Wathen in second, Emma McLean in third, Kinsley Gould in fourth, and then, of course, Cam with the unfortunate tree incident finished in fifth place there. And then if we're looking at the overall for the season right now, as we finally are finished up, as Chad said, Brody finished in first place, Xander finished in second, Luke Wathen finished in third, Emma McLean in fourth, Josie Watkins in fifth, and Eli McLean finished in the number 6 spot. So that's how it went down, 6 positions, and that obviously is the end of the season total. There's no more races, so that is it.
I don't remember if it was overall or class, but he ended up winning by just 1 point. And that's what Devin was kind of figuring on, because he didn't want Brody to lose the either championship or class, which it's kind of strange that they have both, because there's only one class that can run in that. So it's all the same. But anyway.
Yeah, the overall, he had it by a lot. He had 1,997 points to Xander's 1,496. But yeah, if you look at it by class as opposed to the overall, then it was pretty close, but it worked out.
Yep. So, congratulations to him. And then the big boys got to run. That was no disappointment there. It was a good race from the go.
Yeah, it looks like we had 24 that finished and another 5 DNFs, so 29 showing up for the end of the season, plus, of course, Craig Bowman, who runs as a track worker. So 30 on the line to finish this late. I mean, that's not bad.
It wasn't a bad showing at all.
No.
It didn't seem like a bunch of people were there. You know, normally there's a long camping weekend kind of associated with the race weekends. There just wasn't that, I don't think. Now, the property camping and parking area is pretty big, so it was tough to gauge it, but it didn't seem like there was many. But that's kind of, I think, partially because of the rain that they forecasted in there. Plus, it was pretty chilly at night. So I think a lot of people were just like, we'll just race and go home type thing.
Yeah. Well, for looking at the Heavy Pro Mods, Dwight Pollard finishes up the season in the number 1 spot in Heavy Pro Mod. Brandon Monsell in second, Matt Lithgow in third, and Michael Falk in fourth. All Can-Ams. In fact, it's Can-Ams all the way until you get down to the number 9 spot, which are all the finishers, and the only DNF was Mike Seidel, who was in a Polaris. Finishing out, you had Gary Manuel, David Sodar, Jason Wooford, Ty Phillips, and Nathan Whitaker finishing out that class. And then, of course, Mike didn't have a good day either. Did not finish.
Yeah.
But Can-Ams straight across the board until you get to Mike there.
Yep. There's a bunch of open sections on this track, too. Like, it was built for the big boys. I mean, there was some tight technical. I'm not saying the whole thing was wide open, but there was long runs where you were foot to the floor.
Yeah, you got to stretch your legs a little bit, which honestly is kind of a nice change of pace.
Yep. They kind of called it a creek jump, although there is no way in the world the side-by-side was jumping that. And basically, they would drop in, and a couple guys actually dropped in a bit too fast, and their bumper chalked them up. Now, they didn't go all the way over, but it was real close. Several cars got stuck down in there because it was real soft and sand and everything else as it got, rutted and deeper. But, so there's a funny part. I don't know if Doug, I don't have the video of this actual part happening. So, one of the guys got stuck. It was actually the old DR Power Sports, the green caged car.
Yeah.
I don't remember who runs that one, but anyway, he was stuck down there, and he had ended up breaking an axle, and they were trying to winch him out with a four-wheeler, and Dwight Pollard comes and takes the other line and just goes right across where the winch line was running and just snapped it. Like, never even slowed him down. He was gone. I don't know if he ever even knew he hit it.
It just is the way it is sometimes.
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
The problem is you really shouldn't be winching someone out in a live race scenario across the race line.
No.
Like they had their winch across the path.
Well, and it's almost pitch black here at 5:30 at night, and so as late in the day as the UTVs race, it's almost dark by the time they start. So you're not going to see a winch line out there. I mean, even on a bright sunny day, it would be tough to see, but with the sun setting, there's no way. Yeah,
and it was towards the end of the race. The guys that had headlights were running headlights. I saw Matt Heckers didn't have any headlights on it, so his co-pilot was holding a flashlight to try and get him around, which is absolutely terrifying sounding because when you're running it, and they were probably touching 70-something mile an hour out there, and you have a flashlight as your only guiding light.
Yeah, you can outdrive a flashlight at 20 miles an hour.
Yeah. So, no, it was a good race. Quite a few of the familiar names were out there, but good race, great weather, great ground. It was just nice to be able to wrap it up and not be out there and have it just be a total mess.
So moving into the single pro mods, Mitch Wolford in the first spot, Drew Moore in second, Brad Ashby ran third, Chad Moret in fourth, and John Carter in fifth, all in Polarises. In the heavies, Matt Hecker and his famous flashlight actually pulled out the win. Finished 5 laps. Rob Zeidel in his YXZ finished in the number 2 spot, only ran 4 laps. Tyler Hughes ran third. In his Can-Am ran 3 laps. I'm seeing a real trend here. Chris Hendrick in fourth only finished 2 laps in his Honda. And then Lucas Swanson also finished a couple of laps in the number 5 spot, and then we had 3 DNFs. So not real friendly to the heavies there. Matt's the only one that actually ran a full race, it looks like. I mean, Rob Zidell turned in a time slip at 48 minutes, so he ran a full race, but he only got 4 laps in.
Yeah, there was some tight sections. There's one guy out there, and he's been out there several times with a big Turbo S, and he's full width plus wider offset wheels and tires. He's got to be sitting at 74, 76 inches.
Jeez, and forget that. Oof.
Yeah, it's just crazy, but whatever. And he runs with a spare tire strapped to his rear cage like he's going to stop and change a tire in the middle of a race or something.
He's set out for like the mid 400, but he's running through the trees instead.
Yeah, like you're never further than a mile from your truck, and he's set up to be miles and miles away from civilization. Whatever.
Hey, if he's racing and having fun and can actually make it through the track, more power to him.
Yep.
Heavy Limited, Scott Heller finished in first, Sean Pruitt in second, Clint Gould in third, and Derek Stover in fourth. Polaris Yamaha. Easy enough pattern there. Light Mods, Kyle Pitts and Aaron Beck, first and second, both in Polaris's. And then, of course, Craig Bowman, track worker extraordinaire, actually ran a pretty competitive race once again. He's always decent.
Yeah, he's always right there in the mix. And he's running a Honda. I don't know if you mentioned that, but he can drive it. I mean, he's driving it hard.
Yeah, they still got him listed as a Polaris, probably from last year, but yes, he is in a Honda. Yeah. So overalls, just we're taking a quick look at this. Craig Bowman, of course, out of the mix there, but we had 2 single pro mods. Mitch Wolford and Drew Moore finished first and second, ahead of Dwight Pollard in third, Brandon Monsell in fourth, and Matt Lithgow in fifth. And then rounding out the top 10, you had Brad Ashby, Michael Falk, Matt Hecker, Scott Heller, Gary Manuel, and Rob Zidell. So had a couple of single pros and then a block of heavy pro mods and then another single pro and then another heavy pro mod. And you don't get into your first heavy until you get down to the 8th spot in Matt Hecker. And then you start to get the normal mix of light mods and heavies, and everything else is just kind of a patch from down there. But the single pros, evidently the track was pretty favorable to them, because it looks like you had 47.57 was the elapsed time for Mitch Wooford, and then about 30 seconds later, Drew Moore crossed the line, and about another 10 seconds later, about 8 seconds actually, Dwight Pollard finished up. So pretty tight at the top, and then you've got almost a 2-minute gap until Brandon Monsell crosses the line in fourth. So pretty tight up there at the top, though.
Yeah, it was. It was a good race, and as much as I say it's open, I mean, even the RS1s aren't slow in the open, but they're just so much quicker in the woods normally that they can, just depending how much open there is, they can normally overcome that power deficit.
Yeah. Yeah, an open track, like you're talking about, usually it doesn't favor the single seats, but in this case, it just happened to work out pretty well for him.
Yeah. I mean, even the open stuff, there's a lot of big sweepers, so it wasn't like flat-out power pulls. It was traction and digging out of the corners and stuff like that. So they weren't just like mile-long pulls. There was some corners and chicanes built into the field. So series points ended up about like we predicted they would. Dwight Pollard finished in the number 1 spot, Mitch Wooford in second, Matt Lithgow in third, Cole Sequoia in fourth, and Mike Zidell rounds out the top 5 there. And then moving down the top 10, Brad Ashby in sixth, Gary Manuel in seventh, Chris Hedrick in eighth, Drew Moore in ninth, and Ty Phillips rounds out the top 10. So no real surprises there. Most of those guys ran 7. There's a couple guys that only ran 6 races. But, from there on out, everybody further down, it's just a decreasing race count pretty much. Yeah. You got to be there for all races.
Of them.
Yeah, you start missing races, that cuts into it pretty hard.
Yeah. But, Dwight he always runs fast. He always runs hard. And he's coming all the way up from Georgia, so he's serious about racing. So to see him up there at the top, not super surprising.
Yeah. And he's just quick in general. I mean, he's a good driver.
Yeah.
So, so that wraps up the season for IXCR. I think that's all of them for anybody local. The only thing left, well, there's 2 races left this year that I can think of off the top of my head. Texplex is in December, and I'm heading to Georgia next weekend.
Yeah.
So you can see behind me, Doug can't because he can't see my video right now, but the X3 is sitting there. It got some new modifications and some getting ready stuff, and the trailer behind that I was getting ready, and it's going to go in that and go behind the motorhome and head down there and see what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got some driving ahead of you. What do you have to head out? I mean, do you have to, like, grab a turkey leg and run out the door, or...
Pretty much, yeah. My mom was real accommodating, and my whole family, basically, instead of doing like a Thursday dinner for Thanksgiving like we normally do, we moved it to lunchtime, and I'm going to try and be on the road by 2 o'clock, get about 7 or so, 8 hours of driving in, and that'll put me about an hour or so out. I'll just pull over, find a restaurant, and sleep, and then if that all works, I only have an hour or so the next morning because I need to be there. Tech inspection ends at 10. It starts at 8 a.m. So if I get up early and jump on the road by 6 or so, I can get there, get checked in to Durham town, and then find my spot that they have set up for me and kind of get the car out, get over to Tech as early as we can, meet up with the Desert Vets guys, and kind of go through all that. The good thing is normally they have their GP, which is the short course, and their endurance race on the same night or on the same day. It goes from 8 a.m. till the endurance race ends at about 10 or 11, something like that. But because of this weekend is a long weekend where the short course guys are running on Friday and the endurance stuff is running on Saturday, so it's kind of spread out. But it'll be pretty much as soon as I get there, tech in, run my qualifying laps, run, depending how many cars there are in my class, run our heats and then our main, and that'll be that for me. We should be done by dark-ish, a little before, and that'll be that. We'll see how I do. There's no points for this one. This one's just kind of a quote-unquote fun race, and just see how I do. I'm going for amateur mod class. Okay. Although I think I'll probably run as fast as the pro mod guys realistically, but this is more for me to feel out the course, so there's no point in me paying, I guess, the higher registration fee for the race, other than I could win some of it back if I was in pro mod and amateur mod doesn't pay out. Gotcha. So.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy weekend, and then
yes, it is.
Saturday is their endurance race, and that's a 4-hour one. Now, I'm not running that. I'm just running pits and helping with stuff, but that's like the Heartland Challenge length. That is the Heartland Challenge length. So that's a long race. Now, it's really open compared to the Heartland Challenge, so I think you'll have a lot better finish rates. But this is their first 4-hour race, so it's going to be interesting. A lot of these guys probably don't know what they're in for. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of curious about, is to see the different preparations people have made, what they think is going to be important, and what actually is, and that kind of stuff. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Yeah, they're going to have to take fuel on and stuff like that, where a lot of times they could get by without taking fuel. Well, there's pit strategies now. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'd have to stop every 20 minutes, so that's probably not really your cup of tea right now. Right. Well, I am packing down like 25 gallons of externally of fuel, plus the X3 is full right now. So, I could probably do it, but I'm going to burn through fuel. I better run fast enough that I have time to stop and take on fuel more often than others if I ended up running it. But I really don't plan on it. Yeah. Now, for the endurance race, you'd be better off to run pump gas and back everything down a little bit. Anyways, I mean, if you were going to do that. I could back it down and probably be at 220 horse or so, 230 horse, and put it on 93 octane, and I could then run at the same length that everyone else does. But the tune I'm set up on now, it just drinks fuel. Yeah. But it's fun. Oh, yeah. Now, a fun side note, Tyler, Brittingham, he was out there at IXCR. He just came out to watch, and I got to talk to him and ask how the old Razor was doing. And he said that thing is absolutely amazing. He loves it, and he hasn't really had to do anything to it. He's just like put a cooler mount in the back is all he's done. So,
well, good. I mean, that was one of those trades where everybody they won out. They got what they needed, and for what he wants to do, that thing is perfect.
Yep. He said he put the windshield on, which he never thought he'd do, the glass windshield. He said he never thought he'd do it, but he said, I absolutely love it. I stay warm, and everybody else is shivering.
It does make a huge, huge difference.
Yep.
So, well, good deal. I'm curious to see how you make out down there. It's going to be different competition, and it's for you. This is still somewhat of an unproven machine. You've had time to tweak and test, and this will kind of be the final test of all the stuff you've done in preparation for next season. So, I'm curious.
But it's always been changing. It's always been changing up to this point. So
exactly.
I did get the warning from my mom. She's like, no, don't drive like you normally drive. I said, why? She goes, well, you're going to scare people.
What's the point in going if I'm not going to do that?
Yeah, because she found out I'm going to have a veteran in the car with me. I don't know who it is yet. I'll find out when I get there. But brave soul, he or she is strapping into the car with me, and we're going to launch that thing.
I mean, this very well could be the first time in history that a soldier has gotten PTSD after they came back.
You're not wrong.
Oh, man. Well, hey, we do want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors who have ridden along with us through this long season. Of course, we got CW Motorsports, our title sponsor for this season, as well as Spangs Fab, who Kevin Spangler is actually a veteran himself.
Yes, he is.
So if you've been on the fence about getting a cage or tree kickers or something like that and you're not sure who to go with, first and foremost, he makes amazing stuff. You're not going to go wrong. You're not going to be disappointed with the craftsmanship. But if supporting a veteran means something to you, there's just another reason to buy from Kevin.
Yep.
We've also got Watch Communications on board, who has been very generous in hosting the podcast and our website. And they also can provide you with internet coverage throughout basically Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. I think they've got their tendrils into northern Kentucky now. But basically, if you live someplace out of the way where the big providers don't provide, they can probably hook you up. And 834 Powder Coat, Matt Price in his brand new shop, finally set up over there. He's had it up and running actually for a little while now, but if you need to get something fixed up for next season and you want to look better than it already does, go over there and see Matt at the new place, and he'll get you up and looking pretty for 2021.
Yep.
You can find us on the web at eminentperformance.com, on Facebook and Instagram at Eminent Racing, on YouTube /Eminent Performance, and if you just look for Eminent Performance on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, any of those places, you're going to find this podcast.
Yep, pretty much.
And
make sure you guys like and subscribe and comment on the videos and everything else. Doug and I had talked about it a few videos back, but stuff is kind of going to get a little more sparse now that the racing season's wrapped up. I don't think we'll have a video next week for the simple fact that I won't get back until late Sunday night, and probably won't be recording because it's like a 10-hour drive. So we'll probably just record talking about Durham Town and how the short course race went the week after. And then it's going to kind of dry up. We'll probably do one for Texplex, but that'll be a few weeks after. And then, yeah stuff's kind of going to just slow down because racing season.
Yep. Kind of hard to do a racing-focused show when there's no racing.
Exactly.
I mean, you could listen to us talk, but yeah, nobody needs that.
No.
But until then, we'll get this Georgia thing out of the way and see if Chad ends up winning or being banned from the series or how that all plays out. We'll definitely bring you some sort of show about that.
Odds are good either way.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for riding along with us, and we'll see you out at the track.
Thanks, guys.